All right, UFC Fight Night in Abu Dhabi just took place here this evening in the UFC and Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov. We're gonna go through the results, my picks, and cover all of the interesting intricacies of tonight's event. So, I went 8-5 with predictions. A couple of them were just kind of hopeful predictions, I will admit, but you know, pretty happy with the results of my picks for like a first video kind of thing. So we'll go through it here, starting with Cedric Dumas versus Dennis Tilulian, however you pronounce his name. Dumas got the win. I was expecting him to get a TKO, but he ended up winning by decision. He looked pretty good throughout the whole fight. I was a little bit worried in the second round. He did look like he got wobbled, but I mean, he did more damage overall to the opponent there. And I thought it was pretty interesting how Tilulian did some skull bash or like head strikes. Pretty interesting. Signs of CT. Who knows? But Dumas got the job done. Pretty happy with that. We got that pick right. Yeah, let's move on to the next one. Jai Herbert versus Rolando Bedoya. Now, Bedoya, I think I underestimated him a little bit going into this fight. He looked pretty decent as far as his speed and with those leg kicks that he was dishing out early on. However, kind of like I expected with Herbert, he found his range. He definitely had the reach advantage, height advantage too. So slowly over time, the damage was kind of building up. Although Herbert did wear it a little bit more in his face. They had some pretty good exchanges. Herbert did get a knockdown on Bedoya, which is kind of expected, in my opinion. Yeah, it was pretty close there at the beginning, and he just kind of pulled away with a victory. So, yeah, unanimous decision for Herbert. Happy with that. That was one of my picks. And we'll move on to the next one. Victoria Dudikova versus Sam Hughes. Now, I was surprised to see Victoria gas out so much as the fight progressed, especially in the third round. I mean, you could see the signs in halfway through the second round, maybe even earlier than that. But Sam Hughes hung on. She didn't slow down. She maintained a steady level of aggression, I guess you could say. And yeah, she ended up winning by split decision. So congrats to Sam Hughes. Victoria Dudikova is no longer undefeated. So we'll see what her future looks like here in the UFC. Be interesting to see who they match her up with next. I feel like she still is like a top 15 contender in the division. So yeah, we'll wait to see what's in store for her next. Next, Ram Kutulidze versus Jordan Vucenic. Jordan looked very good in the first round. His stand-up game was impressive, to say the least. As the fight went on, though, Kutulidze just kept trenching forward and kept applying the pressure. So he dominated round 3. Yeah, so that's another. What was that? Oh, it's right in front of me. Unanimous decision towards Kutulidze for the win. So congrats to him. Jordan's a force to be reckoned with, though. So being that he took it on relatively short notice, moving up a division, maybe the lightweight division is good for him. I'd be curious to see how he does with the other people in the featherweight division. So, yeah. Move on to the next one here. The big boys. Yeah. Okay, so the last 2 fights, I should mention, did not get this one, obviously. And then, I gambled a little bit with Vucenic, but I was happy to do that just based on his performance watching the fight tonight. So, he could have done a few more things in the later rounds to help improve the result there, but it is what it is. Now, this pick here, Shamil Gaziev versus Dontel Mays. I just wanted to see Gaziev lose. But, he basically laid on Dontel Mays for 2.5 rounds. And Dontel Mays didn't do much when he was on his back. So, Gaziev just laid his fat ass on him and got some little ground strikes here and there. But, he was the favorite going into this fight. So, Gaziev gets the win. Unanimous decision. A lot of decisions up front here. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So we didn't get that. Moving on to this fight. Yaya versus Fernandez. Oh, man. I was pretty happy with this performance from Fernandez. As you all know, we could see the leg kicks that he was throwing out. He really did serious damage on Yaya's lead leg there. Nasty swelling. I'm surprised it didn't start bleeding after a certain point. But, the fight did end in the first round by TKO. So eventually he got knocked down and Fernandez got the finish. He looked really good in this fight. I can't remember if he called anybody out, but yeah, somebody we'll have to keep an eye on. I'm really happy with his performance. He did well. Okay, moving on. Murzakanov versus Menefield. So I don't really recall watching Murzakanov fight. He's just a powerhouse. He did great. Alonzo Menefield, I'm surprised he stayed up for as long as he did on his feet. But yeah, round 2 finish. Murzakanov, performance of the night. So congrats to him. Still undefeated, as far as I can tell. So yeah, I think let's see. I can't remember if he called anybody out specifically. I think he did. I got it in my notes here. Don't think yeah, I didn't write it down, but yeah, he had great striking on the feet. A lot of power. Nothing too flashy, but he was getting through. Menefield kept things up close, and Murzakanov kept throwing those uppercuts, which was really getting through to him. I think that was ultimately what broke Menefield down in the fight. So, yeah, like I said, congrats to Murzakanov. I did get this pick wrong, but hey, I'll definitely reconsider things going forward. Murzakanov. And that was the end of the prelims there, or early prelims? No, just prelims. Okay. All right, moving on. Joel Alvarez versus Elves Brenner. Look, Brenner got finished tonight. He had never been finished before, I guess, or subbed, or whatever. TKO subbed, hasn't been finished. Joel Alvarez, very clean, technical striker here. Elvis Brenner was moving around, always on the back foot, dancing around the octagon. Alvarez was walking him down the entire time in the fight. Very clean striking. Definitely a top contender, I feel like. So, well done to Alvarez. It was a round 3 finish, so we could see Brenner gassing out just a little bit, but I think it was because of the strikes that were getting through for Alvarez. So, yeah, that gave Alvarez performance of the night, I guess. Well done, sir. Well done. We did get that pick right as well, so happy to see that. Now, Mackenzie Dern versus Lupe Godinez. I was a little worried for Dern there for a little bit. Her striking was decent, okay? Definitely improved from her last fight, I would say, her last 2 fights. Standing and trading with her opponents. She did do some groundwork as well. I thought maybe she was going to have set herself up for an armbar, I think it was. Something like that. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Yeah, no. Yeah, she did have a round 1 close to an armbar. She was working towards it, you could tell. And Lupe was, I thought, in my opinion, much better on the feet, but Dern did enough to get the victory. So, unanimous decision for Mackenzie Dern. Did get that pick right. So, congrats to her, and She's still ranked number 7. We'll see who they match her up with next. Okay, I'm going to take a drink before this one. Proper number 12. With some ginger ale. All right. Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa. This was another hopeful pick for Tony Ferguson. 7-fight losing streak against great opponents, mind you. He's 40 years old. And he looked it tonight. He had mentioned something about doing a bunch of rounds of sparring. That didn't do shit for him tonight. Embarrassing performance from Tony Ferguson. Michael Chiesa isn't even that great of a fighter. He's been around for a long time as well. Whoever bet on Chiesa to get a submission, I think that's a safe bet. So that's what he did in the first round. Very early on. I think Tony maybe got 3-4 strikes in that weren't even significant by any means. Maybe one of his leg kicks or whatever, but man. Yeah, not looking good for Tony Ferguson. In the after-fight interview, DC, was trying to set him up for a retirement send-off. I had a good feeling that Tony wasn't going to accept that, and he stood there kind of contemplating things, looking around at the arena. People are cheering for him, and ultimately threw down one glove, said he's undecided. He's going to go home to his family, his coaches, talk to them, and see what he wants to do from there. And then after the walkout, the camera was pointing at Tony as he's walking out of the arena area, and he says, you could see with his mouth, he's like, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. And he's just digging himself a hole. I'm curious how Dana feels. I feel like Dana's just going to keep saying the same thing about, yeah, Tony should retire. I think Tony just wants to go out on a win. So maybe the UFC will do him a favor and throw him some can. I don't even know who. This was a welterweight bout. I think Tony Ferguson's fought mostly in the lightweight division. So UFC, throw him a can, let him get his win, let him retire. All right. We don't need to see him anymore. 40 years old. Live the rest of your life out doing coaching, owning your own fight promotion, as you stated recently. Whatever you want to do, Tony. Much respect, but man, yeah. Yep. Not a good pick on my part, so we didn't get that one. But anyway, we'll move on. So, Marlon Vera versus Figueiredo. Once they stepped into the ring together, Vera was definitely the bigger guy. Obviously, Figueiredo went up a weight division. I think he had won 2 fights in this division before this one. The decision did go to Figueiredo. He did knock down Vera. So, before the fight, I know he was talking about, oh, yeah, I'm going to knock him out, blah, blah, blah. And nobody's ever done it, So, seeing Vera go down kind of got me a little bit excited. I'm like, oh, maybe he will get a finish here. Knock him out or something. But Vera stayed with it. Vera's best round was probably round 2. I think he won that. He seemed like he was more defensively sound and was starting to make those adjustments for Figueiredo. However, in the later portions of the third round, Figueiredo really started laying it on him and, secured the win that way. So, congrats to Figueiredo. As I said, unanimous decision win. And then I think he called out the winner of O'Malley and Merab. So we'll see if they give it to him. I kind of doubt they're going to, but we'll see what happens. Okay, moving on to the co-main event. Shara Magomedov versus Alexejczyk. Alexejczyk stayed in longer than I thought he would. I thought he was going to get finished maybe round 2. Shara had really good striking. He was on the back foot for the most part throughout the fight, but he mixed up the striking. He attacked the body of Alexejczyk very well. Whether that was with kicks or punches or, he had all kinds of moves in his arsenal throughout the fight. I think he landed an elbow that split Alexejczyk open towards the end of the first round, maybe early second round. Overall, he looked pretty good. Kind of a silly style for a Dagestani guy, but yeah, it got the fight of the night bonus. So congrats to him. I think who did he call out? Do I have that in my notes here? I don't know. Don't know. Oh yeah, he did have some nasty elbows from the bottom too when Alexejczyk took him down. I think towards the end of the fight. Nasty, nasty elbows. He didn't really throw much of them early on, like one or two, but the one he did throw early on did split him open. So, going forward, maybe we'll see more of that from him. But like I said, he was mixing up his strikes really well. Oh, yeah, Magomedov called out Nick Diaz for Abu Dhabi in October. I don't see that happening. Nick Diaz was supposed to fight on this card, I believe, against not Tony Ferguson, Michael Chiesa, was it? I don't know. Weird matchup. It should have been like Tony Ferguson versus Nick Diaz. I think a lot of people, would have wanted to see that, myself included. But Shara wants to call out an old man, Nick Diaz, for Abu Dhabi, but that card was just announced, and that I don't think that's gonna happen. But gonna be a big card. Excited for that one. We'll have to talk about that here in the future. But fight of the night bonus. Congrats, Magomedov. Regardless, be excited to see who you face next. And on to the main event. Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Look, this was an easy prediction. Khabib's camp is pumping out all these Dagestani guys that, they know how to win and they have the formula to do it. And there's nothing flashy about it, nothing special other than being able to stand and trade, jump out of the way, grab a leg when somebody goes to throw a kick, hoping to trip them up just so that they can munch him on the ground. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Corey Sandhagen, pure soy, pillow hands, very technical guy, but no sting on his punches, no real impact with the strikes that he was landing. The few that he did under Nurmagomedov, the Nurmagomedov, he's right in saying that he dominated the whole fight. He won all of the rounds. That is exactly what we watched. So, congrats to him. He's now sitting in the number 2 spot, I'm assuming, or I don't know who's number 1 for bantamweight at this point. Probably Merab. I'm not sure. Either way, he's looking for a title shot next. It's probably going to be a while before that happens. We got O'Malley versus Merab, and maybe they give him that opportunity after that, but yeah, we'll see. Corey Sandhagen, I will give him credit. He did defend 3 of the 4 takedowns early on, I believe. See, what do I have in my notes here? Yeah. The round 1, he avoided 3 of the 4 takedowns, and it was pretty impressive at the start, but he needed to do that the whole fight. Nurmagomedov just, at least got 1 takedown each round after the fact, like rounds 2 through 5. So, yeah, pretty interesting scrambles. Corey did, kind of roll around with him, and it was pretty interesting, but Nurmagomedov still had control overall. I don't know what his total control time was, but yeah, dominant performance. Like I said, Corey just didn't have the power or the sting to really open him up to put him away or anything like that. So I think a lot of people expected it to go to decision regardless, but yeah, Nurmagomedov gets the job done. let's see. Yeah, I did have Figueiredo to win, Shara to win, and Nurmagomedov. So brings me to 8-5. You know, like I said, I would say the two picks that were just kind of hopeful picks were the Dontel Mays and Tony Ferguson. Uh, so yeah, man, it is what it is. But yeah, we'll look forward to the next fight. I'll have to kind of look into that one a little bit. I haven't even dug into that one yet. I think there's one next weekend, so I'll take a look at the card there and look to upload another couple videos here next weekend. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have fun watching the fights, and till next time.
Peace.